Oh,
Fancy
hi,
seeing
Bill.
you
It's good speaking to you. Time
again.
has passed.
It
Yeah,
has, yes, yeah.
it has passed. You remembered to wear the same set
I
sweatshirt.
did, yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's going to start smelling eventually. Should probably wash it.
That's a good point because I also didn't wash mine in between last time we recorded. So, yeah. But hey, we remembered, we kept our word, and that's all we can do. Are you ready to talk some Wigan Athletic?
Yeah, Wigan Athletic. So, um, as I mentioned in the Wimbledon podcast, they had quite a similar history. So they were actually formed in 1932, which is late for a football club in the UK. Wigan is predominantly a rugby league town. Is it Wigan a city? Not sure if Wigan is a city or a town, but it's a rugby league place. So any listeners who might like rugby, the more famous code of rugby is rugby union. So that's 15 players on a pitch. Might be where people may have seen the US play in Rugby World Cup. It's the type of rugby that Wales are more known for. Um, it's the sort of it's more like the posh boy sport in England. So in Wales, it's not, but in England, it's like where the poshos go to play
Mm.
rugby union. But rugby league is like the working class version. It's a bit faster. The rules are different. There's 13 players. Um, so Wigan have never really been a humongous football club, even though it's quite a big place. It's just on the outskirts of Manchester. So anybody who did like football tends to sort of like go and support United or City. But they were in non-league like Wimbledon until the late 70s, 1978. They sort of just plodded on, won a few little bits and pieces, trophies, gone up and down the leagues. Nothing fancy, but it wasn't until the mid 90s when they were bought out by a local millionaire called Dave Whelan, who used to own a sports shop brand called JJB Sports, and the JJB Sports used to be everywhere. It was the first time I actually ever shot a basketball at a hoop was because the JJB Sports that opened in Wrexham had a little basketball court on the inside of it. Um, they they were like almost a little bit like the Wrexham of the time. They were buying players that they shouldn't have. They had no right to buy. They actually bought Neil Roberts from Wrexham, who has been on an episode of Dragonheart. He's an ex-Wrexham player. He was a striker. He went from Wrexham to Wigan because they had the money to sort of throw at him. He ended up back at Wrexham eventually, but he played for them for years. He's actually going to be on the next season of Welcome to Wrexham as well. So you might
Oh,
hear a
wow.
bit more about his story on that. And then they just sort of, with that money, ended up flying through the leagues. Come 2005, they make their way to the Premier League. They were there for just under 10 years. In that time, they won the FA Cup, got to, I think it was the final of the Football League Cup, which is the cup we're going to be playing them in, but lost to Man United, and generally had a bit of success before they got relegated. They actually got relegated the year they won the FA Cup, so they were one of the first teams in a long time to be playing in Europe whilst in the Championship, because even though they got relegated, because they'd won the cup, they had a place in the Europa League, so they were playing in Europe and also like sort of trying to survive in the Championship at the same time.
Wow. Those two
Um,
things don't seem to make sense
no, I know,
together.
and they when they beat City, it was a huge shock. It was a massive shock. It was one of the biggest cup upsets in a final, probably in all
2013.
fairness. What's that?
Was
Sorry.
it 2013,
Yeah,
2014?
2013. Yeah, they
20...
scored a header in the last sort of 10 minutes, and to be fair to them, that was a huge achievement. When they went down into the championship, because there was a big argument that you'll quite often hear Wrexham fans talking about, oh, I don't want us to win in the cup because I want us to concentrate on the league, and it comes from these sort of cautionary tales where if Wigan hadn't been distracted by being in the FA Cup final, they may have just stopped themselves from getting relegated. I think they might have even gone down on the last day, and if it wasn't the last day, it was close to the last day. So
Oh,
that energy that was spent playing in the FA Cup obviously made a difference. But I'm sure if you ask most Wigan fans, they'd have probably said that winning the FA Cup was the best day of their lives. So it
sorry.
is all
Hold on.
about what you.
Let me get a re-drink.
Won the FA Cup, got relegated, and that is where, you will hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, we should concentrate on the league," because of not just Wigan, but teams like that who make a big push in the cup, but end up their league their league performance ends up suffering because of that, and it leads to maybe not doing as well in the league. So if you ever hear a Wrexham supporter or any British football fan supporter complaining about that, and you might not be able to quite understand why, it kind of comes from that. Although I don't really buy into it completely myself. They've had financial issues over the last sort of 10 years, really. They've bounced around between League One and the Championship, and they found themselves back in League One. So looking at their current squad, again, there's actually a few names that stand out. One in particular, James McLean. He is an Irish player. He plays for the Republic of Ireland, but he was born in Northern Ireland. There's a bit of a weird thing with Ireland, Irish nationality, where if you're born in Northern Ireland, you can still apply for a Republic of Ireland passport, even though it's technically in the UK, isn't it? Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
You can either be a UK citizen or a Northern Irish citizen. And a lot of people in Northern Ireland sort of consider themselves Irish and will choose to play for the Republic instead of Northern Ireland. Some people would say he's quite controversial. He's refused to wear the Remembrance Day poppy at matches, and he gets a lot of stick off opposing fans. He's very outspoken in his political views. I won't go into my own personal politics because it's not the place for it, but I will say that the people who do boo at him clearly don't believe in free speech. So it's not something that I agree with. That he comes from an area where it's quite controversial to praise British troops. So for me, it's his personal choice if he doesn't want to wear a poppy. They've got a few other players as well. Josh McGuinness, who is a Northern Irish international, very good player, probably too good to be in that division. Wouldn't be surprised to see him or James McLean go to a different club. And fairly strong team. They've just been, even though they finished bottom of the Championship, they're still going to be quite strong because they're fairly they've played quite nice football in the past. So we'll see, but it could be that their priority lies in getting back up to the Championship, and they might not take our League Cup game very seriously. So it could be an opportunity for us to go and beat a team who are, again, are currently a couple of leagues, well, a league above us.
Is this similar to other non-FA Cup draws where you might put out a lower team or a second team or hold back your stars?
Yes, yeah, possibly. So the League Cup, it's going to be new to a lot of fans, but it essentially replaces the Football League trophy. The FA Trophy. The Football League Cup is for all teams from League Two upwards. Currently, the Premier League teams aren't in it, but some Premier League teams will be entering in the next round. So if we win, there's a chance that we could play any Premier League team that isn't in Europe. The teams that are in Europe, they join in the round after that, just because they'll be playing a round of European football while the second round's going on. So for us, there's a big incentive to go and beat Wigan and then potentially draw someone like trying to think of teams that aren't in, someone like Everton. Everton's quite a close club. That would be a huge away day for Wrexham fans. And then, even if they didn't draw Everton, there's a chance to play teams like Shrewsbury, who are our second biggest rivals. They're in League One. We could play any of the other big teams that are in those divisions. So it's a huge incentive to go and get some big money games for us. Whereas Wigan, they've been in the Premier League not that long ago. The novelty might not be there for them to play those teams, and they might just think, let's get this cup game out of the way and concentrate on the league. So it's a real opportunity for us, I think.
And is that how you see us approaching the match? Wrexham being more ambitious and maybe more aggressive for goals, and Wigan will play for the exercise, but maybe not for the win.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Phil Parkinson's got a history of taking the cup competition seriously, but it's so early in the season that it might also be an opportunity for him to play some players that don't play in the first game. And it's, we got the first game on Saturday, then that League Cup game on the Tuesday. There's quite a quick turnaround considering they've only just come back from America. So we could see quite a different side playing. But at the same time, our squad's so strong that we've got players that you swap Aaron Hayden for Owen O'Connell, that there's not much of a drop-off in quality there, is there? Swap James Jones for Andy Cannon, not a lot of drop-off in quality. So it could be that we do change things around, but I still think it's going to be, we're not going to be putting kids in the squad, put it that way. He's going to take it seriously.
And without Super Paul Mullen, could it be a chance to try new formations to reinforce whatever he's going to run within this season without Paul Mullen?
Yeah, absolutely. It all depends if we sign anyone between now, when we're recording this, and the game, because it might be that game. Say, well, it's pull the curtain behind a little bit. It's Thursday today,
It is.
No, well, yeah, I think so. Anyway, it's Thursday or Friday, or put the day over there if you want. But we may have signed someone by then, and that would be the perfect game to give them a go, because if we do get knocked out of the cup, it isn't the end of the world. So it might be like, right, new person, you come in and it's your chance to have a go at playing with a new squad. But Parkinson has done it before, where he's picked the exact same team that he picked on the Saturday, on the Tuesday for a cup game. So who knows? It's quite difficult. I think we will be taking it seriously though.
And do you think that Wigan is gonna just roll over it like it doesn't mean much to them?
The only thing that might make them take it seriously is the fact that they are going through financial troubles. So perhaps there might be pressure from their board of directors or whatever to try and win, so that there's an opportunity to play a bigger team and make a bit of money in the next round. Other than that, I just think a club like Wigan, their priorities probably lie away from doing that. They might be that they just want to concentrate on making sure they don't get relegated again, or that they go up, whatever they're sort of looking at, really.
And they don't make money this round. Like, whoever wins this round, is there cash?
There is prize money, but it's not as lucrative as the FA Cup. I'm not sure how much it is, but it's not a huge amount. Both teams will be getting a little bit of money for it being on TV as well. So, every little helps, I suppose. It's that 50 grand or whatever it is you get for the TV can go towards signing a player for both teams, can't it? So it's never going to hurt to win these games, really, especially so early on in the season.
Any news on Paul Mullen that you've heard recently with your insider information? No scoops. Sorry, Ran. We don't get to hear about the There's
players.
Not a miraculous recovery and he shows up at the game.
I was listening to Ben Foster's podcast. Apparently it's 4 fractured ribs, isn't it, and a punctured lung, so it could be a while, but I think it's going to be I don't think we'll be waiting as long as maybe first feared. Fingers crossed. Who knows? Well,
and what good time to have a League Cup game in the beginning of the season when Paul's not going to be there. And
yeah, I know. Yeah, it's typical, isn't it? He is the exact sort of player that would thrive on a game like this. So it is a shame to be missing out on him. But look, we've got such a strong squad that I've got faith in the team. Definitely.
For any of us new members, this match equivalent to FA Trophy, on the same lines of it's more important for the lower teams than it is for the higher teams?
I think it's similar to the FA Trophy in that teams might not take it seriously until they get to, let's say, the quarterfinal, because then once you get to the quarterfinal, there's a real opportunity for you to go and win the thing. But there'll be a lot of the bigger teams that sort of go, there's a chance for us to rest a few players and get another few players a bit of fitness. But as we saw in the pre-season, you look at that Chelsea team that battered us 5-0, and that was, you could probably say that was their C team. So if we came across, say we did beat Wigan and we came across Chelsea, they could put that team out again and beat us again. So they might not take it seriously, but the quality gap between a B or a C team for these big sides is so huge compared to us that they can afford to not take it seriously but still win.
Mm. Are you so bold to have a prediction?
I'm going to say 1-0 Wrexham.
1-0 Wrexham. Okay. Just from your setup of maybe more dog in the race for Wrexham than Wigan, I'm gonna go 5-0. I'm going from days before. I'm taking someone else's prediction and throwing it on this one. Well,
great.
I can't wait to start seeing some matches. There's going to be at least one sleepless night before the first match. Well, Bill, thanks for teaching me how to Wrexham the Wigan way. There's probably a dance.
Always. And just make sure you wash that t-shirt before the next one.
Okay, next time we meet, let's just wear different clothes.
Yeah, that's me.
Like, yeah. Because we don't. They've waited. This is too stinky. We can't keep doing this.
Much,
Enough is enough. That's how you know too far. You went too far. Enough is enough. Yeah, we're good. Well, thank you, Bill.
Yeah, cheers, Ran. Thank you.
Until the next one, this has been Ran.
And I've been Che.
Thank you, Che. And this time I didn't put the name markers on the bottom. Hopefully there's a new Wrexham fan that just watched the documentary, clicks on this, and they're like, that Che guy is cool.
He's the better of the two brothers.
All right, Bill. I'll catch you later.
Cheers, Ran.